as soon as you step into a relationship. And this is what becomes, I think, so difficult, is that when we first enter a relationship, if we could be more clear about what our limits are and what we need in this relationship, I think things would go so much better. But the problem is, I don't think we give the partner the respect and intelligence that they show up with when you first meet someone. Welcome to I Think I Can podcast. My name is Luella Young. I am a woman who believes that we, like wine, get better with age. Age brings us wisdom, intuition, and a level of sophistication that is beyond the reach of youth. I am here to tell you that living a luxuriously rich and fulfilling life is in your reach. I Think I Can podcast will teach you to think differently in order to get different results. Allow me to show you how to do life effortlessly. This podcast is for the woman who is tired of playing by the rules of society, community, religion, parents, and partners. I Think I Can is all about becoming brave, authentic, purposeful, and strong. Listen weekly and you will find yourself living a life you could have only once dreamed of. Thoughts drive our physiology, so channel your thoughts with me into a life truly worth living. Enjoy the show. Hi, welcome back to I Think I Can podcast. So today, after writing a post on honoring your, your limits, where we need to honor our needs, and where someone has maybe pushed us too far, where we try to communicate what our needs are, what our expectations are, where our values lie. And despite communicating these needs over and over again, the person which we tend to really care for and love, otherwise it wouldn't bother us so much, is not listening, not honoring our needs, and it becomes a real cycle of disappointment for us. It's sort of, despite requesting this over and over, they dishonor our needs. So I liked, in the post that I wrote today, I called it drawing a line in the sand. And I just prefer limits, using the word limits, or, just drawing a line in the sand as being a much less intensive, divisive term to use. I'm not sure why it's important to me, but I just feel like we hear about it all over too. It's like all these books and, like great authors, great messages, but something about like boundary boss and I don't know. It's sort of like, I see it as almost like a steel door coming between two people. It's like slam, like a garage door. This is my boundary, this is the rock wall that I'm building between us. And I'm thinking, well, that's not great. I mean, how do you communicate when there's like a rock wall between you. Like, this is my boundary. This is the fortress I've built around me. You dare not come through. Like, I get the message. It's sort of like, okay, this is my limit. This is the threshold. This is the line in the sand. But we can still see one another and we can still communicate over that line. It doesn't have to be so, like I say, just divisive. So I'm going to be talking about limits and drawing a line in the sand, and doing this to honor yourself, your needs, and placing some value within yourself. I mean, you wouldn't have these desires or needs if they weren't a part of who you were, right? So, and it becomes so important because the level of intensity often surrounds people. I mean, we have these limits because we generally like love this other person. And as I say this out loud, I'm thinking of, the parent-child relationship where we need to set limits without feeling controlling. This is really difficult, especially for parents. So another one is, relationships. That's a big one. It's honoring your needs as soon as you step into a relationship. And this is what becomes, I think, so difficult, is that when we first enter a relationship, if we could be more clear about what our limits are and what we need in this relationship, I think things would go so much better. But the problem is, I don't think we give the partner the respect and intelligence that they show up with when you first meet someone. For example, let's say this person that you're entering a relationship states to you that, maybe, I don't know, like, let's say they're saying, my family, oh, my background, my family is so different from yours. It's just, okay, let's say, because I'm a woman, I'm just going to be speaking from a woman's point of view. So let's say I met someone and this person said to me, and I really liked this person. I mean, like, we connected on many different levels. There's just so many things that I saw in that person that I was just like, wow, like, we are an item. Like, this is great, on the same vibe in so many different ways. But let's say this person says something like, I really like you. Um, I know we connect on, many different levels, but I don't know, like, your family is just so different than mine. Like, you guys say you love one another, um I don't know, how my family yells and are very abrupt with one another, and my dad struggles with this or that, like alcoholism or maybe addictions. Yeah. I don't know, has a very short fuse. He becomes angry very often, and I never see my mom and dad show, affection towards each other, and your family is all this. And then, okay, so it's me. I would come across, or my response would be like, oh, yes, but, you know, um, that's not your fault. and I see you as being different, and I've seen the kindness in you, or you're so nice and blah blah blah. And what I'm doing there is I'm sort of like, I feel like in a way, I'm devaluing the person. It's sort of like, well, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. And and it's almost contemptuous in a way, because then I'm sort of thinking like, I'm a much more intelligent, um, um, I don't know, visionary kind of person. And surely once you spend more time with me, I will show you the way. I will guide you in terms of communication and um blah blah blah. It's almost like, you're some sort of Madonna, Mother Teresa, um, mothering like bird, like, a mother bird, like flying in and whatever. I will help you. I will feed you like tiny bit of morsels of guidance, and I will take you under my wing, and we're going to live happily ever after. It's it's a bit insane when you think of it. I mean, this person is trying to communicate to you that, there's something, and it's somewhat controlling in a way. It's sort of like, hell or high water, I'm going to make this relationship work, because you're so focused on the few areas of connection that you might have. It's like not being able to see the forest for the trees. And sometimes I think for women, we we don't honor ourselves, um and because you know speaking of this relationship, in the end, you you're going to see that's a deep wound for this person, and he might have been trying to communicate that to you. So despite maybe his efforts, he's going to sort of, default to certain tendencies, certain learned behaviors unconsciously, despite wanting to do something different. Some, like, these wounds do run deep. So we need to respect that. I'm not saying that you can't connect with someone and this person can make a very conscious, like, let's say the man here, that man would make a very conscious effort to do things differently, and he would be very much into emotional intelligence, self-development, is all into sort of, you know therapy, and is willing to be guided. But I mean, that's not what I see, often happening. But I I I would 100% agree with. I do see it as well, not as often though. I see people more, you know, going towards the unconscious way of going through life, um, sleepwalking through life, and just allowing these defaults to happen. But I have seen the opposite though, where sometimes I hear um, a person's history, family dynamics, and they turn out to just be like amazing, confident, well-rounded individuals. And I'm like, how did you do it? And they basically said, I made a very conscious decision that I was going to do life differently, and then figured out, okay, I'm at point A. How do I get to point B? And they start planning all the ways that they're going to get to point B and stay in alignment with that vision that they have for themselves. Again, it's very conscious effort and a lot of effort. So, as women, I feel we're so vague on our limits because we want to be that mother bird. Like we want to take, whether it's a child obviously under our wing and nurture that child, or even a partner. Um it's it's all the same thing. We want to give them the benefit of the doubt constantly, and therefore I find we make our lines in the sand very blurry. Like it's not one definite line. It's very wide, and it's sort of like, when you think about the sand, it's sort of wiped out, like it's sort of like, is that the line? Oh no, I think it's over here. Because if we do that, then I think, subconsciously, in a weird sort of distorted way, we feel, okay, so if they cross the line, then I don't need to be disappointed, really, because you know what? The line wasn't clear. It wasn't definite. So it's not really, I don't know, like, how you sometimes say to yourself that you're kind of expecting the worst in order to protect yourself. For example, we've all had those, like, peers in class. I don't know if you have, but I definitely had, like, these child prodigies that are just, like mini Einsteins, and you're all kind of waiting to go into the classroom, about to write your exam, and these people, these friends that are mini Einsteins are coming up to you and going, "Oh my God, I'm going to do so badly. This is going to be horrible." And you're just looking at them going, "What? Why would you say that? Like, you're freaking brilliant." And you just know that they're going to, like, come out with a 98%. And it's like, it's annoying. It's like, why don't you just say you're going to do, because, but then, like, I know why in reflection now. um it's because they were doing everything they can to avoid disappointment. And so if you're telling yourself, and this is sort of like the same thing where, you're just waiting for the second, like the other shoe to drop. It's sort of like, if I anticipate disappointment enough, when disappointment eventually comes, I won't be that disappointed, you know, because I prepared myself for it. That's a crazy way of going through life. Like, why are you, you know, sort of being so unclear and vague in terms of what you want, in the hopes of not being disappointed? Because whatever you focus your attention towards will become your reality. So why are we not clear, precise on what we want? So again, going back towards, what your limits are, if we're very clear, precise, and there's no vagueness at all, it's you're going to be able to maintain those limits. And if they disappoint you, if they cross the line, it's better, like, you were gonna be disappointed anyway, right? Whether you give out very weak messages about what your limits are, vague, unclear, and they disappoint you, or if you're super clear and they disappoint you, you're still disappointed. So why don't we become very clear, black and white? And men are so much better at this than women. If for example, you've probably experienced this. It's like when a guy breaks up with you, it's not wishy-washy. It's like if he says he's out of here, he's out of here. It's a very masculine energy to have. Like it's like it's very clear, and we hear it all the time. Oh yeah, guys, they're very black and white, very clear, um, very linear. And I and I think, possibly that's why we see more leaders of our country, more men in business, more, I hate to say it, but it's sort of like you kind of understand in a way. I think they make a decision and they stick to it. So when they say, this is my limit, they honor that. They stick to it. And I think, as women, we would do much better if we started practicing the same thing. I mean, I must say that, in terms of couples, I have many more women coming to me saying, why do like, well, I'll say, like, why did you allow that? I mean, why you're living with, an alcoholic, and how many chances have you given him? Um, or someone, who's committed adultery or affairs, or it's like, where's your limit? Like, why wasn't it, drawn in the sand years ago? Why are you allowing this to happen and coming in and but they all say the same thing. Well, I just wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just wanted to um you know give him a second chance. It's sort of like, oh, that, let's take him under my wing, let's just, you know it's that emotion, right? It's the feelings, and when emotions run high, logic runs low, intelligence runs low. It's a seesaw pattern. And yeah, it's more of a feminine energy to we have a lot more of that oxytocin, estrogen running through our veins, and we are much more emotional creatures. Of course we are. But there's a point where we can't defy logic, and we have to honor our intelligence. It's like, okay, you know once bit, twice shy. It's like, okay, here's the line. Here's my non-negotiable. And we need to have the courage to decide that. It's a non-option here. it's becoming very clear on what we need. Like we have to be clear, otherwise it's disrespectful towards the person, whether it's a partner, where it's a child. We're very, we're basically telling them, they're you're kind of stupid. Like, you're kind of stupid. We need to honor their intelligence and kind of say, I know you're going to hear me. You're going to see where the limit is, and you're going to be able to make an intelligent choice. Okay, she said this is okay, and she said this is not okay. I'm an intelligent person. I hear her, and therefore I'm going to need to stay within the rules here. I'm going to need to honor that line in the sand and stay on the other side and not cross it. She's intelligent. I'm intelligent. We're two intelligent people. And yeah, whether that's, you know, someone cheating on you, someone telling you that they're going to not be angry anymore, they're not going to lose it on you anymore, they're not going to emotionally abuse you anymore, they're not going to physically abuse you anymore. It's like, okay, like that's a hard line in the sand. And unf- yeah, and I think where it becomes really difficult is a parent-child situation, a mother-daughter, mother-son. It's like we feel like we have to be that mother bird all the time and continue to nurture them. I mean, obviously, that's what we do, but we also have to, you know, remind ourselves that these children of ours are very intelligent and they need very clear limits. They have to know how to stay in their lane. We can't make these limits blurry. It's a disservice to them. We can't be wishy-washy here. Oh, yeah, um, you didn't, whatever, you didn't shut off your device, um, at 1 a.m. like I asked you to, or you didn't do your homework first and then go on your device, but you know what? I know you'll do it tomorrow. I know you didn't mean it, honey. um, I know that time got away from you. Um, I understand how fun it is to be gaming with your friends, and I know you're struggling in school with friends, and this means so much to you. And I want you to have friends, and I want you to blah 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 blah. No, there's there's times to connect with your friends, and there's time to sleep and eat and do your homework. It's like sometimes we just need to like wake up and and step into reality. And sometimes you need another person to tell you that. Sometimes you need another person to share this with, so they can give you, like I always say, the 30,000 foot view from above. This is not working for you. This is clearly not working for you. So what do we need to do to make this um, change happen? Um, so I was also going to mention that, like, when it's a parent-child relationship, and yeah, again, women, I think, often want to be liked, right? That's why there's sort of that saying, where I think some mothers have woken up and smelled the coffee and kind of said, I don't need to be your best friend. I just need to be your mother. And to me, that's sort of the difference between needing to be liked and nice and simply being kind. As a mother, like, kindness sits in the heart. So I'm kind to you. I listen to you. I respect you for the person you are. I respect the fact that you do want to do these things or you don't want to do these things. However, this is our house. It's a shared space, it's a communal space. We all contribute to this space. We own the space, right, parents? We own the space. Um and if it's a privilege to live here, frankly. It's a privilege to live in this shared space. Therefore, these are the limits. These are, where it becomes, contributing to the family, and where it becomes, you taking advantage of the family and what you have here. So again, it's becoming very clear, precise. Don't let them guess. Don't let them guess. It's almost like we need to do this in terms of our visionary too, right? Like our what's the vision of our life? Like, where do we want to go? Where do we want to focus and put our attention towards? The clearer we become on that, in terms of what we need, what we want, and everything I do in life, I'm going to do in alignment towards that. So for example, if you want to become a better parent, or you know gain ranks in the company or whatever, your choices that you make every single day will depend on how clear you are on that and how focused you are on that, and to do things that are in alignment towards that. Every choice you make, again, it's a choice, it's a decision. It's living with intention. You're not going to just do things half-heartedly in life. Like, what's your intention when you have a conversation with that child? My intention is to become very clear on what our needs are in this house. Like, whether that's your husband or your wife and you, it's sort of like, these are our needs, these are our limits. It's a very intentional conversation. We need you to get clear on that. And we're going to also intently listen to your needs, and we're going to have a dialogue back and forth. We're going to listen to each other, and I need to step out of my ego, and listen to you when you're talking, but then also honor my own needs. So you're not going to completely disregard their needs. You're going to listen with intention and make sure that they know that you're listening to them. But as a parent, they want you to have clear boundaries. They want you to have, a certain, like, this is okay with them, and this is not okay with them. We know that. We know that they want that. So why is it that we're just so wishy-washy all the time? It's because we don't want to be disappointed. We don't want to be sad. But being sad is okay. Like I say, they're going to disappoint you no matter what. Whether you give them well, the benefit of giving the clear message, the very defined line, is that when they do cross it, everybody knows, what to do. It's sort of okay, so, this is what will happen now. We told you, so this is what will happen, and they know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. But when it's all vague and unclear, it's like no one knows what. Well, okay, no, last week you said, you know, this was going to be taken away from me, or we no longer go on that trip, or but oh no, wait, this week it's different. Okay, so it, like, everybody's confused. So you remove the ambiguity here. It's very clear. They know what to expect. You know what to expect. And yeah, there's going to be some sadness. There's going to be some disappointment on both ends, right? Because as a parent, you're sad. They're sad. But we got to be able to sit in the sadness and still maintain our energy, our our personal power within that. They they're looking for that. They want you to be solid. They they're looking up to you. They want you to be clear. So why are you giving them these vague messages? It's almost like, holding a dart in your hand and thinking, this is what I want from my child. This is the goal. Let's say it's for them to, I don't know, just do the chores, or put down the device, or come come to dinner when you call them for dinner. And it's like, okay, so that's the goal. That's the bullseye. I have the dart. And rather than being focused and clear, like, rather than looking right at the bullseye when you throw the dart, you're going to close your eyes and just like, you know, like you're going to toss it with your eyes closed in the hopes that it's going to somehow get close to the goal. If it doesn't hit the goal, though, it's okay, because I sort of expected, and I closed my eyes, so it wasn't a definite line to the bullseye. It, like, I'm not surprised it went off course. It's what I wanted, but and I told them, but y- yeah, subconsciously, well, I closed my eyes. So it wasn't very linear, and there was a lot of room for fault. So yeah, it happened. But and the cycle of disappointment continues over and over again. So it's okay. It's okay to be not nice. It's okay to not always look nice in front of your partner, your sister, your parent, your friend, your child. It might not be perceived as nice to not, I don't know, show up to help them move this weekend because you're exhausted and you just worked, I don't know, whatever, a crazy week before that. May not be nice to tell your child, okay, so now you can take your plate and eat the meal by yourself because I called you 3 times to come for dinner and you didn't. And this has happened 3 other times this week. So you can take your plate, you can leave the dining area and eat by yourself. That might not be nice. It might not be nice for you to just, after what you felt was clear communication with your partner, to pack your bag and take some space for yourself and sit with some deep reflection on the relationship and thought. It may not seem nice if he's begging you to do something differently, but not being nice is very different from kindness. Nice is associated with being liked. You don't need to be liked. You don't always need to be liked, but you always should strive for kindness. Kindness is from the heart. Kindness is from the heart. You can be kind and not nice. And being very clear or where the line is in the sand comes from kindness towards yourself. You wouldn't have this limit, this line in the sand, if you knew it wasn't deep within you to honor this limit. It's from somewhere. It's a desire of yours from deep within you. You'll be okay with the disappointment by honoring that line in the sand, honoring your worthiness, honoring your needs. It's not a matter of being worthy or unworthy. You're worthy from the moment you're born. You're a human being. You're more than worthy. It's just stopping the cycle of disappointment much earlier than what it needs to be. What we see so many of us doing is the same thing over and over and expecting it to change. It's a decision. It's becoming very clear, precise, and everyone around you will start to appreciate that. There's nothing more attractive than being with someone who, when they say no, it's no. When they have very clear, lines. it's great. It's sort of like, I know with that person, I know that when they say, this is my limit, this is as far as I go, that you can believe them. It's not wishy-washy. So be kind to yourself, honor your needs, knowing that they're there for a reason and that you are going to flourish and thrive when you start doing that for yourself. And people around you will want to be with you more. People are asking you for this. People don't like guessing. They want to know the truth. Everyone wants clarity. Everybody wants the truth. So start living from that energy, that essence of who you are. This is who I am. And you will see your world change around you. You will be more than happy, and others will be more happy around you as well. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you here next week. Bye-bye. Thanks once again for joining me on another great episode of I Think I Can podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe below so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And until next week, treat each day like it was your last, because each new day is a privilege that we shan't take for granted. Cheers and have a great week. Bye-bye.